All right, Pete, to start with, we're going to talk about Everton. Now, of course, they've decided to appeal their second points deduction. What did you make of that? What's expected for them?
Yeah, it was no surprise that they obviously lodged this appeal against this second points deduction. They had success from their first appeal, having it reduced from 10 points to 6. So obviously there'll be a bit of hope within that Everton boardroom that they could get this 2-point deduction reduced on this latest appeal. The big news out of this one is that the Premier League have confirmed that the case will be heard before the end of the season, and that's the most important thing, I think, in this case, because we were worried that it could drag on beyond the end of the season and some clubs would find themselves in a bit of limbo, not knowing if they'd stayed up or been relegated as well. So it's being heard on an expedited basis, and let's hope we can get this fast track now, which the Premier League say they're going to do, and we can get some clarity finally for all the clubs involved in this relegation battle, not just Everton, but they've obviously had success previously in their other appeal, and I'm sure they'll be hoping that maybe they can get this appeal maybe reduced again, maybe get 1 point back, and who knows, if they get a point back in this latest appeal, that could be the difference between staying up and going down. So yeah, ongoing this one, but yeah, I think for everybody in the Premier League, this needs to be done as soon as possible, and we definitely don't want to drag it on past the 19th of May, which is the final game of the season.
I mean, Pete, it sounds like they're likely potentially to receive some points back. What is the best case scenario? Would it be a suspended sentence? And actually, is there any chance in a different world the Premier League could take more points off them for appealing potentially?
Yeah, I don't think they'll take more points off them. Everton wouldn't have risked it, I don't think, by appealing if there was a chance that there could be more points taken off them. As I said, they've had 6 taken off them already, then this other 2, so that's 8 points in total. If they can get 1 point back, I think that would be a success for Everton in this latest appeal. And as I said, that point could be massive come the end of the season when the final tally does go up there, and it could be vital for them in securing Premier League survival, because if they go down, it would be a disaster for the club, especially when they're set to be moving into their new stadium at Bramley-Moore Dock as well. But yeah, obviously they'll wait and see what the outcome of the Nottingham Forest appeal is, because that's been heard before Everton's, and they'll probably have a verdict before the Premier League make a verdict on Everton's latest appeal as well. So if Nottingham Forest are successful in getting their 4-point deduction reduced, Everton will feel pretty confident that they'll have grounds to have their latest deduction reduced as well. So yeah, still a lot of uncertainty around the club, full stop, really.
Pete, just to be clear, well, as clear as we can with PSR and FFP rules and everything else, the Everton appeal is only against the 2 points that they have just had deducted. The first 6 points that the 10 that was reduced to 6, that case is closed, that's done. There's no more appeal against that. It's simply against the 2 points they've had deducted. Yeah,
just the 2 points that they've had in the latest deduction. That 6-1 is now put away in the drawer, hopefully never to be seen again, and we can move on.
The best they can hope for realistically is 1 point, isn't it? That's probably, they're not going to get both back, are they? The very best we're looking at is a point.
Yeah, I think 1 point would probably be suffice, I think, for their appeal. If they got the 2 back, there'll be, what's the point in doing this breach of charges anyway in the first place? What was the point in giving them 2 points if we're going to give them 2 points straight back as well? But yeah, Everton, in the initial findings, and when they did get charged with the second one, did ask for a suspended sentence, but that got rejected by the independent commission. So I don't think that's going to be the case this time either. So yeah, I think 1 point back would probably be a success for Everton in this latest appeal. And as I said, that would be 7 points taken off them this season as well. And if you just think if they had those 7 points on the board, they'll be sitting in mid-table and away from this relegation fight.
Paul, how relieved are you for the fans now that it's going to be done before the end of the season? I know we've been concerned over the last few weeks it was going to drag on, and like we've always said, players and the managers alike would be on holiday. They wouldn't know if they were relegated or not. Is this good news for the Premier League?
I wouldn't say it's good news, because I think the whole thing has been a bit of a shower, hasn't it? Really, the way it's all been dealt with, the timescales and the inconsistency of punishments and everything else. And does it benefit the fans? No, not really, because it's them that get punished with their team getting points deductions. It's always the fans that seem to get hit the hardest. Yes, it needs to be done before the end of the season. It does need to be sorted out, but it's the managers and the players that are going to benefit from that, because they know where they stand. Going into a relegation battle is hard enough without having to worry about, well, we may be here, we might not be here, we might need a win, we might need a draw, and the uncertainty that surrounds the league. It's vitally important for the league's integrity that it's finished as soon as physically possible.
And Pete, what's the main argument for Everton in this hearing? Is it double jeopardy? I mean, that's what most people potentially have pointed towards.
Yeah, and that's been their main defence in this second points deduction. They're claiming why they're getting punished twice for the same offence in the same season. So obviously Everton have used that to hold up why they're getting 2 lots of points deductions rather than just 1, which they obviously felt was harsh in the first place when they got the 10 reduced to the 6. So yeah, double jeopardy has been Everton's main defence in trying to get this latest points deduction reduced. There could be more of this ahead for Everton. The club's really in limbo. They could face points deductions come next season for other financial irregularities as well. I think it's to do with the interest costs associated with the building of their new stadium at Bramley-Moore Dock as well. But I don't think that case or that will be resolved before the end of this season. So that'll potentially be heard next season, I think, with that one. And then maybe Everton could start next season with a points deduction because of that one. So yeah, it's a real hard one for Everton. As I said, the club just finds itself stuck in limbo for me. They've got the points deductions, they've got the takeover uncertainty as well. So real difficult time for Everton, and what a real bad Monday it was for Everton. Obviously, they lodged their appeal against the latest points deduction. The prospective new owners, 777, had to make an extension to repay the loan. And then obviously they had that 6-0 thumping against Chelsea as well. So yeah, it's been a difficult few days for everybody connected to Everton. And as I said, there's just so much uncertainty around the whole club and what's going on.
And Pete, in terms of the Premier League going forwards, do these cases that are ongoing, we can come to Everton's third case, does this sort of summarise why the Premier League needs to look at how they sort of dish out sanctions, given how long this process has taken for both Everton and Forest alike, really?
Yeah, I think obviously they'll have to look at it. They're claiming they will look to fast track punishments for any breaches of PSR going forward. And I think for the clarity for everybody involved, these punishments need to be given out before the start of the season, so then everybody knows what they're working with. I think it's been very harsh on Everton, who up until that first points deduction were having a very good season, and obviously then it did galvanise them for a bit when they went on a good run of form after the initial 10 points deduction. They got 4 points back when it was reduced to 6, but yeah, the season's been in a bit of free fall probably since then. I think 1 win in 15 now, so it means that all the hard work that Sean Dyche and the players have put in during the season has really hurt them, because, as I said, if they had those 8 points on the table right now, they'd be sitting in safety right in the middle of the table and no fears of going down. So, yeah, I think for the clarity of every team involved in the Premier League, I think these punishments, if they're going to be given out, need to be done before the season starts.
You've just watched a segment from Football Insider's brand new podcast, The Inside Track, with me, Lewis Pearce, alongside the guests on the show. Thanks very much for tuning in. Please do give the video a like, comment your thoughts on the topic, and feel free to share on your social media pages. If you want to listen to the full podcast episode, click the link in the description below. Keep your eyes peeled for plenty more content and exclusives here on The Inside Track.